The Shoemaker's Legacy. Once, in a small, quiet town nestled between rolling hills, there lived a humble man named David. He was a skilled shoemaker, known for his craftsmanship and attention to detail. Every morning, long before the sun kissed the sky, David would rise from his modest home and make his way to his tiny workshop, nestled at the edge of the town. The rhythmic sound of his hammer tapping on leather was a familiar sound to all who lived nearby. David's shoes were not just shoes, they were works of art. His dedication to his craft was unmatched, but it was his love for his family, particularly his son James, that drove him each day. Though David's work was physically demanding and often left him exhausted, he knew that the key to a better future lay in education. His own life had been shaped by hard work, but he wanted more for his son. He wanted James to have the opportunities he never had, the chance to grow, to dream, and to succeed. Every penny David earned from his work was carefully saved, with one goal in mind: to send James to school. James was a bright boy. From a young age, he showed a natural curiosity and a thirst for knowledge. He excelled in his studies, absorbing everything he learned with eagerness and enthusiasm. But David's work in the shop was never far from his mind. Every day after school, James would rush to his father's shop to help him with the shoes. Whether it was stitching leather or polishing a pair of boots, James did it all, learning the craft with a diligence that mirrored his academic pursuits. As the years passed, James's education flourished. He excelled in his studies, earning top marks in every subject. Yet, even with all his success at school, he never once complained about his time spent working in the shop. To him, it was a way to honor his father's sacrifices. He knew that his father's hard work was the foundation upon which his future was built. On weekends, James would often sit with his father in the shop, listening to his stories about the struggles he had faced in life. David would talk about how he had come from nothing, born into poverty, with no formal education, yet driven by a belief that hard work could change a person's life. It was these stories that shaped James's character. David never once spoke of regrets, only of the importance of perseverance, honesty, and kindness. As James grew older, his hard work and dedication to his studies began to bear fruit. He graduated with honors from the local school, and from there, his academic journey continued to soar. He went on to attend a prestigious university, where he studied law and political science, driven by a desire to make a difference in his community. The years of sacrifice, both his and his father's, were beginning to pay off. However, James never forgot where he came from. Despite his academic success, he always kept the shoemaker's shop in his heart, for it was there he learned the true meaning of hard work, dedication, and the importance of family. Years later, after completing his studies and working tirelessly to make his mark in the world, James's efforts finally bore the highest recognition. He was appointed the High Commissioner of the state. The news of his appointment spread quickly through the town, and people marveled at the young man who had risen from such humble beginnings to such an esteemed position. But for James, the honor wasn't just about the title. It was about proving to his father that all of his sacrifices had not been in vain. On the day of his appointment, dressed in an impeccably tailored suit and accompanied by his security team, James stood at the Grand Government Office. The ceremony was held with much fanfare, with reporters, politicians, and dignitaries all present. Yet, despite the accolades and attention, James knew where he needed to be. As soon as the ceremony concluded, he excused himself and made his way to the small town where he had grown up. His heart was filled with anticipation and a deep sense of gratitude and humility. The drive was long, but James hardly noticed the passing hours. When he finally arrived at the familiar cobblestone street that led to his father's shop, he felt a rush of memories flood his mind. He stepped out of the car, his security detail following behind, and walked through the door of the modest shop where it all began. The familiar scent of leather and wood greeted him, and he saw his father, now older but still with the same steady hands, working at his bench. David looked up, his weathered face lighting up with recognition. For a moment, neither spoke. The years between them seemed to vanish as James walked over to where his father sat, his heart full of emotion. Without hesitation, James lowered himself to the floor, just as he had when he was a child, and embraced his father tightly. Tears welled up in David's eyes as he held his son, understanding the depth of this moment. James, now a man of great stature, placed his hands on his father's feet, bowing low in an act of deep respect and gratitude. "Father," he said softly, his voice shaking, "everything I am today is because of you. Your sacrifices, your love, your hard work. None of this would have been possible without you. I am here because you believed in me when no one else did." David, though deeply moved, smiled gently and placed his hand on his son's head. "No, my son," he replied. "It is you who did the hard work. I only gave you the tools to build your future. You have always had the strength within you. I only helped you see it." They sat together in the shop, surrounded by the familiar sights and sounds of their life's work. The shoes, the leather, the memories, each one telling the story of a father's love and a son's dedication. For James, this was the most meaningful moment of his life. He had achieved great things, but the success he truly valued was this quiet, intimate moment with the man who had given him everything. As they sat there, James realized that success wasn't just about titles or positions. It was about the relationships we build, the values we hold dear, and the love we share. He made a silent vow to carry on his father's legacy, to never forget the lessons learned in that small, humble shop. And so, with his heart full, James promised that his father's name and the lessons he imparted would never be forgotten. From that day on, James worked tirelessly not only to serve his community, but also to ensure that the legacy of his father, the humble shoemaker, lived on. He made sure that the lessons of sacrifice, hard work, and love were passed on to the next generation, and that his father's shop, though small and modest, would always be remembered as the place where dreams were born. The journey from the shoe shop to the high office was long and filled with challenges, but in the end, it was love, respect, and gratitude that truly defined James's success. And so, the shoemaker's legacy lived on, not in the shoes that were crafted, but in the heart of a son who had learned that true greatness lies in the love we give and the people we uplift along the way.